There are another couple of brush types that I want to let you have a look at. Now, when you apply these brushes, you can just apply them to lines. So if I choose the pen tool and just draw a line from here to here, holding down Shift to constrain it, and then select the grass pattern, notice it applies the grass to the line, and I can decide which kind of grass I want applied there. So if I choose this one, I could maybe drag that onto my background grass so that it's actually behind the bear. And if I want to do that, the easiest way is just to select this little swatch and drag it onto the layer that I want it to go onto. And that way I don't have to do any cutting and pasting. I can just drag a selection onto another layer. So let's select the front grass now. And this time we'll select the brush tool. And I like the brush tool because I can create these nice fluid lines with it. So we can create a much nicer effect. Let's go on to the front grass now. And this time we're going to select a different grass pattern 2. And I'm going to create a different curve with that. And we'll maybe put 2 layers of grass on there to create a more dense effect. And at any time you can go in and just select the stroke that you've created and just adjust it, or the path that you've created rather, to create the effect you want. So have a little play with that, paint some grass in there. There are lots of other pattern brushes. Some of them are more organic, like this. Others are more decorative, things like patterned edges for frames and things like that. But if you open up this one, you can see the controls. Now this one just has controls for the regular tiling. Some of them have different controls for corners and endpoints. And if we cancel that and go into our brush library, we can see if we can find some. So what we're looking for are some pattern brushes, and the border brushes tend to be good pattern brushes. So if we choose borders, frames, and in here you can see how pattern brushes are displayed. And these ones have corner shapes and end shapes, some of them. Well, these ones have corner shapes. So if I was to select one of these, so I'm going to scroll down and select this wooden one here. You'll notice it places wood on the selected line. But I don't want to do that. What I want to do is select a rectangle and draw a rectangle around this image. Okay, like so. Okay, and when I apply the pattern brush to that, I now get a lovely picture frame around my image. When I say lovely, it's a picture frame. And I can just adjust that so that it surrounds my image and covers up the edges where I've not painted the grass in properly. Now, there's some practice pieces here as well of grass that you can play with. But basically, if I double click this pattern brush and open it up, one of these ones, let's choose that one, I prefer that one. If I am to open that up, so if I go into my brushes panel and double click it, you'll notice it has a different tile for the side and for the outer corner, and that way creates a nice pattern. There are also other pattern brushes that have nice ends, like the floral brush sets. Some of them have pattern brushes in there, and one like this has a specific end to it. So if I was to draw a line here and select that brush and then draw it, you'll notice it has an end. And if we double click it in here, it has a side tile and then an end tile. So you can create ends and corners and side tiles using the pattern brush. So a little bit of a rush to show you all of that, but have a little play with those brushes. And what I'll do now is jump to this one and show you scatter brushes. So scatter brushes are the last ones, and I've created a scatter brush here by selecting this bubble and going to New Brush, Scatter Brush. And with scatter brushes, I can vary things like the size using the pressure. I can vary the spacing as well using the pressure or the tilt or bearing or rotation. Let's do it with tilt. And I have scatter values as well and rotation values. And if I click OK, I can also set a range, of course, for them as well to say how much I want it to vary by over time. And if I click OK and just delete that bubble, I can now select my brush tool and paint bubbles. Okay, now I've set the settings a little bit too extreme there, so I'm going to select this one that I created earlier. And you'll see that if I paint, I can create these lovely bubbles coming out of my fishbowl. So great fun, the scatter brush tool. It allows you to create these almost particle effects. And if I press harder, I get bigger bubbles, and if I press softer, I get smaller bubbles. So great fun. Have a little play with the scatter brush tool too. You can use that brush that I've saved, or you can access other ones in the brush libraries menu.